Well, a few years ago, I wrote a book, and I've had a long interest in the Super Marionation story. Super Marionation was the name of the technique that Jerry Anderson came up because he was so embarrassed by working with puppets that he thought if he gave it a sort of catchy title and they sort of pushed the technology forward, because at the time it was like Andy-Pandy, you know, and he wanted to do better and better puppet shows. And I've always had a long interest in this, and I met a lot of the people who worked on the shows when I was, you know, when I was a teenager, and they told me their story, and I thought, you know, it was a really fascinating story, you know, sort of this team of young, enthusiastic filmmakers that wanted to make Ben-Hur and big motion pictures, but they could only work with puppets. And so they were so embarrassed, they sort of pushed forward the technology as far as they can. And I thought it was just a really great, really human story, actually, of ingenuity, and the work that they did was really pioneering, you know, what they did was really had an effect on the film industry, and I thought, well, that's a great story. So I wrote a book about it, and then when Jerry Anderson died a couple of years ago, someone said, well, why don't you turn it into a film? And that's why we're here now.
And it's amazing, actually, seeing it brought to life. The thing that fascinated me was talking about, you know, how the actual mechanisms of the puppets work, how the special effects work. I mean, Justin, you know, you're a puppeteer, so you're involved in all of that. There's more to it than just a few strings, obviously, isn't there?
I mean, the thing about the original puppeteers is they had to work really grueling hours, and they had to lean, you know, really far over. They had these bridges that they would operate from so that they could get a lot of depth in the shot. And they would sometimes have to suspend themselves over these sets and, you know, very precarious stuff, but...
And they're very heavy.
They're very heavy.
These puppets are, if you can see our arms are slightly trembling, it's because they're very heavy.
And actually, worth quite a lot, you were saying, Stephen. I don't know why you've left Richard in charge, to be honest.
Well, I know, you think if you were a kid tuning in now, we all wanted Tracy Allen when we, you know, they tried to build one on Blue Peter, didn't they? If we want one of these...
Even a replica can cost between, depending on the quality of it, between 2,000 and 5,000. If you want an original, Lady Penelope, you're looking at 50,000 plus. I mean, they are worth...
Just for the two-piece, I would imagine. The Chanel, Never mind the Barnet. Why the fascination, do you think, still? I mean, you came to it late in the 90s, didn't you? And obviously, it was only a couple of years in the 60s, but as you say, the impact on popular culture has been phenomenal.
I think because there really is nothing like it. I'm not entirely sure they knew at the time what they were. They were just working with the technology that they had. But I always say that if you give, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're a boy of 5 years old or a man of 50, you give him a model aeroplane, he'll start to work out, you know, imagine what it looks like when it flies in overhead. And I think that's the unique thing about Thunderbirds, Stingray, Captain Scarlet, is they're like your toys have come to life, but they're not done in an embarrassing way because they're put with the, you know, the big rockets and the big music.
The voice of the toys.
It's done in a really impressive way. It's about the most impressive your toys could ever look. And I don't think that appeal ever goes.
Super Marionation, or filmed in Super Marionation, coming to a cinema near you on October the 10th, I stand corrected, and a new series on ITV we can look forward to in the spring of 2015. £5,000, you say? Charlotte, get your purse.
I know, well, I think you'll be lucky, yes. Also, Rosamund Pike, the voice of Lady Penelope, she'll be talking about that later on as well.